That salesperson was too chatty. That salesperson was too quiet. That salesperson was just right. You know, our sales world sometimes feels like it's a fairy tale full of beautiful princesses and horrible ogres. And as sales professionals, we are the heroes or the goats. It all depends on your performance. But your performance is dependent on your communication skills. One of the things that we have to do is to find the right balance between talking and listening. In sales, this is absolutely critical. Get this wrong and you will alienate your customer. Never a good thing. Now, finding that sweet spot is certainly more art than science, but I do want to help you to be able to get this right. So let me share with you three tips that will help you to find the right blend of talking and listening. All right, let's start here. It's called the 2-to-1 rule. You should be asking 2 questions for every 1 value point that you share. Oftentimes, salespeople get into the habit of sharing point after point after point after point without asking any questions. A good rule of thumb is to think about asking 2 questions for every 1 value point that you're going to share. It's a good habit to get into. Now, having said that, I want to warn you against one old school technique that really just kind of drives me up the wall, and that's when we only answer a question with a question. It looks like this. Well, can I get this in red? Is red important to you? Well, do you have it available in red? Is it important to you that it's available in red? Are you some kind of moron? That's not what we're talking about. That's old school, and we don't want anything to do with it. Follow the 2-to-1 rule. Now, here's the second rule that'll help you. It's called the ARC rule. Think of the entire conversation that you're going to have with a customer for however long your typical sales presentation is going to go. And you know early on, it's all about getting to know the customer. And then once you get to know the customer, you can show them a solution that will work for them. And then we're going to gain that agreement over here. So you could look at the sales presentation really in 3 parts: understanding, showing the solution, and asking for the sale. If I looked at that, you can track that and come up with an arc to that story that would show you how much you are listening versus how much you are talking. And I'm going to suggest to you that early on in the process, when you're getting to know that customer, the customer should be doing the bulk of the talking. When you get into demonstrating the solution, that's where it gets to a shared level. Part of the time you're talking, part of the time they're talking. But then when you're going for the agreement, when you're asking for the sale, you're back down to where they are doing more talking than you are, right? So I'm talking a little bit early in the process. I'm talking a little bit late in the process. I'm talking the most during the demonstration, but even that is still only 50-50. We don't ever want to be talking more than the customer. So you see this really interesting arc throughout the entire process. Ironically, I've often seen the reverse arc, where we see salespeople who are talking a lot up front, saying very, very little over here as the customer is experiencing the product, and then they talk again at the end. They talk to themselves out of a sale. The ARC rule is a good way to keep your head on straight and to get you thinking about when you should be talking the most and when you should be talking the least. And if you're ever in doubt, talk less, but say more. All right, one more tip here for how you blend your listening and your talking. It's called the traffic light rule. If you are explaining something, I want you to think of your explanation having something of a green light, yellow light, red light monitor on it. You can talk to your customer for about 30 seconds and get a green light. That is, your customer will still be listening to you. If you're explaining something that goes between 30 and 60 seconds, watch out, yellow light. Maybe they're paying attention, maybe they're not. But if you go 60 seconds or longer without interaction with your customer, you are in red light territory. They have checked out. You ever run a red light? It's expensive. Keep your presentation points brief. The longer you go, the more you start to get garbled in the customer's mind. You see, the traffic light rule suggests that the amount of talking you should be doing is absolutely consistent with the customer's attention span. Well, let me just ask you the question. How long is your customer's attention span? After a while, you think what you're sharing is really, really interesting, but your customer is checking out because what they hear is wah, 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 wah. Hey, when it comes right down to it, if we want to reach that fairy tale land where the listening and talking balance is perfect, it's going to come down to your intentionality. You don't have to be talking all the time. The reality is that we only learn when we are listening, and we can only solve problems when we understand those problems. Back it down. You don't have to be in love with your own voice. There'll be a time to talk, but it's not during this sales presentation. Listen to your customer. That's how you change their world. Hey, we hope you're enjoying the 5-minute sales training. If you are enjoying it, just take a moment right this moment. Just click on that like button. We'd sure appreciate it if you would do that. Subscribe if you haven't. And if you want to get notifications whenever there's a new episode going out, just hop over to jeffshore.com. There's a green button right on the main page that'll allow you to sign up for a notification. We won't spam you. We don't sell emails. This is the opportunity to make sure that every Saturday morning you get a fresh start into your weekend, thinking right from the very start, how can I make an impact? Because at the end of the day, you know what we do. Learn more to earn more.